I told him he would never be the man I truly needed. He didn't argue. He didn't fight back. He just smiled faintly, gathered his belongings, and walked out of my life forever. My name is Rachel. I'm 30 years old. For almost 5 years, I believed I had love all figured out. His name was Mark. He wasn't the kind of man who swept me away with dramatic gestures or flashy declarations. Instead, he was steady. He'd show up with a hot cup of coffee when I had to work late. He'd fix a dripping faucet before I even knew it was leaking. He never forgot my mother's birthday, sending her flowers year after year without me reminding him. Friends would often say, "Rachel, don't let him go. Men like him are rare." And for a long time, I listened. I believed them. But somewhere along the way, something shifted inside me. The part of me that once dreamed of whirlwind romance, of passion that burned uncontrollably, started whispering again. I craved more fire, more thrill, more intensity. What I had with Mark was steady, but steady began to feel like settling. It wasn't that he ever did anything wrong. The problem was that everything was always the same. The same restaurants for dinner. The same Sunday walks. The same gentle "I love you" before bed, always in that calm tone of his. I tried to convince myself that this was what real love looked like, that this was maturity. But late at night, scrolling through social media, I'd see couples traveling, dancing barefoot in kitchens at midnight, surprising each other with trips across the world. And I'd ask myself, why not me? Why not us? Mark was safe. And in my restless heart, safe began to feel like dull. It happened on a random Tuesday evening. He had just come home from work, kissed me lightly on the forehead, and asked how my day had been. For some reason, his smile that night felt small, his voice quieter than usual. We sat down to eat, and he started telling me about his day, about the same coworkers, the same meetings, the same routines. My thoughts drifted elsewhere, and when he noticed, he leaned in and asked gently, "Are you okay?" And that's when it slipped out, words I could never take back. "Mark, you'll never be the man I need." Silence. He set his fork down and just looked at me for a long moment. Then, he smiled. Not sarcastic, not bitter, just a calm, knowing smile, as though he'd already been waiting for this. "All right," he said softly. "No questions. No defenses. No pleas." He stood, walked into the bedroom, and pulled out his suitcase. My chest tightened with panic as I followed. "Mark, wait." I didn't mean, but he didn't stop. He neatly folded his shirts, placed them carefully in the case, each movement deliberate and quiet. "Rachel," he said with a gentleness that broke me, "if I'm not the man you need, then I shouldn't waste your time, and you shouldn't waste mine." There was no anger in his tone, no resentment. Only acceptance. And that, somehow, hurt the most. I stood frozen in the doorway, watching the man who had shared my life for 5 years slowly erase himself from it. No slammed drawers, no shouting, just the sound of hangers sliding, zippers closing, suitcase wheels softly clicking against the hardwood floor. "Mark, please." I didn't mean it like that. I begged, my voice trembling. I feel like something's missing, and I don't know what it is." He paused, looking at me with the kindest eyes I had ever known. "I know what's missing for you," he said. "And I won't keep you here while you go searching for it." When he finished packing, he stood before me with his suitcase in hand. "You're a good woman, Rachel," he said quietly. "And I hope you find the man who makes you feel the way you've been longing for. But I know that man isn't me." He kissed my forehead, just as he had every day for years, and walked past me out the front door. The sound of that door closing wasn't loud, but it felt final. The first week, I convinced myself I'd made the right choice. I told myself I'd soon meet someone who made my heart race again, someone who swept me off my feet. I even downloaded a dating app. But every conversation felt hollow. Every smile seemed temporary. And every time something broke in my apartment, I caught myself wishing Mark was there, not just to fix the faucet or the shelf, but to fix me. I missed the way he always asked about my mom. I missed how he knew my coffee order without asking. I missed the stability I had mistaken for monotony. About a month later, one restless night, I found myself driving aimlessly. Without planning to, I ended up in front of his new place. Lights glowed warmly inside. Through the window, I saw him sitting at the table, laughing with friends. He looked lighter, happier. And in that moment, I realized he hadn't left broken. He had left free. Maybe, without meaning to, I had given him the same gift he had given me, the chance to search for what we both truly needed. I still replay that night in my mind. I wonder what would have happened if I had bitten back those words, if I had chosen gratitude over restlessness. But regret doesn't change endings. It only makes them heavier to carry. I told him he would never be the man I needed. Maybe I was right. But what I finally learned was this: the person you need isn't always the one who sets your soul ablaze for a fleeting moment. Sometimes, it's the one who keeps the flame steady, quietly, for a lifetime. Have you ever pushed away someone who was good for you because you thought you were missing something more thrilling? I'd like to hear your stories. Maybe together we can learn the difference between love that is steady and love that has truly run its course. Mark never returned, and I never asked him to. Some doors, once shut, are meant to stay closed. Yet I carry him with me, not as the man I let go, but as the man who taught me that love isn't about extravagant gestures. It's about showing up, every single day, until life feels unimaginable without them. I only wish I had realized it before I told him otherwise.